Hey everyone, it's Ethan or Miist back again for another video today, and welcome back to the channel, guys. We're here again for yet another video, and today we're going to be talking about every movie I watched last week, and I am slightly going to be rushing this video because I want to make sure that I can get it out for 5 o'clock tomorrow. Well, at the time of recording this, it is currently June 10th at 12:31 a.m. I work at 8:15, and I need to go to sleep, so yeah. And I want to make sure that this video will upload at 5 o'clock with when my scheduled time is every week on Mondays, which I try to, and I have been pretty consistent with over the past month or so, a little bit over a month maybe. So yeah, anyways, let's get into this. Let's talk about it. And one of the biggest parts of this week is actually where we're starting off the list with Bad Boys. Which I ranked a 58 out of 100. It's just really mid, in my opinion, and this franchise is not very good, in my opinion. I can understand why people would like them, but I'm just not a big fan of, like, dad action movies, especially not from the 2000s, which, obviously this one is from the late 90s, or mid-90s, I guess, but yeah, it's just not for me. I didn't really enjoy this. And I've heard a lot of people don't really enjoy the first one a whole lot. So, you know, that's fair. I understand that. So, yeah, I mean, it gets 58 out of 100 for me. I just don't fuck with Michael Bay movies. And that's, you know, yeah, I don't know. Anyways, let's move on to Bad Boys 2, which I ranked a 3-star. And there's going to be a lot of 3 stars on this week, which you will see. This one I ranked a 62 out of 100, and obviously, I'm sure you can see that this is pretty low. Most people seem to really enjoy this one, and this one to be the favorite of the franchise. It was not mine. In my opinion, each movie gets better, so a spoiler for later on in this video. But yeah, overall, I didn't really enjoy this one either. This one was super Michael Bay. But overall, I did find it a little bit better, but this one was really long, and it felt really long. And yeah, I just, again, didn't really enjoy my time with it. Ranked it a 62 out of 100. It's like barely a decent movie, in my opinion. So, yeah, what can you do? Let's keep going to one of my oldest movies watched, which is from 1934, The Black Cat. And this one was a very interesting one. I've still been trying to go through some of those old Universal monster movies, or Universal Studios, I should say, monster movies, and obviously this is kind of another one. This one was definitely the worst that I've watched so far. It was the least interesting. The Black Cat felt really out of place. I didn't really follow with the plot nor engage with it all that much either. And I ranked it a 63 out of 100. So, I mean, it's a little bit better than Bad Boys, but not really. And overall, I just, you know, wasn't the biggest fan of this movie, unfortunately. And as a cat dad, especially a black cat dad, I was kind of disappointed with this movie. So, let's keep going to Bad Boys for Life, which I ranked a 68 out of 100, which I obviously enjoyed more than the first two. But I still don't think it's great. I still don't really think it's good, to be fair. I just think it's decent. And, I mean, I don't know if it is a hot take that I enjoyed this movie more than the previous ones. Probably. From what I can see, a lot of rankings go number 2, number 3, or number 4. Number 3 or number 4, and then number 1, which is very interesting. So, yeah. Like I said, my ranks just go up and up as the franchise goes on. And yeah, I mean, I enjoyed this one. Yeah, this was a legacy sequel, really. That's all I can say about it. It wasn't anything too special by any means. Again, in my opinion, it was just kind of decent. So, a 68 out of 100. And then similarly with Bad Boys Ride or Die, again, actually, I ranked it a 68 out of 100. I do think I enjoyed this one a little bit more, but I just don't think it's as good as what the next movie is on my list. And yeah, I mean, definitely the best part about this movie, and honestly really the first thing that I really enjoyed about any of the movies in this franchise was The great camera work in this movie. The camera felt like its own entity. It felt like its own character. Just the way the character or the camera moved, it was absolutely amazing, and it was really unique. And I really enjoyed that. We don't see a lot of camera movement like that nowadays, so that was really cool, and I really enjoyed my time with that. Although you can read my review, I struggled to enjoy this movie at times. But the second hour definitely felt better than the first hour as well. And I think the camera work was really largely a big part of that, which I'm very thankful for, because I was genuinely yawning in the theater while people were laughing in like the first hour. So that kind of sucked. Kind of took me out of the experience a little bit. But overall, a 68 out of 100 for yet another decent movie, which is another 3-star this week. And then moving on to my last 3-star of the week, which is Wrath of the Titans, which I only learned after watching this movie that there is a prequel. So that kind of sucks, but it's not on any streaming services. Didn't really feel like renting it. So, yeah, I ranked this one a 69 out of 100. And I seem to be a little bit higher on this movie than most. This is definitely a movie that I feel like probably could have been better off with like an extra 30 to 40 minutes of runtime. Give us some more story. Maybe. But yeah, I had watched so many of the old, like 1930s Universal Studios horror movies from this week. I just wanted to break from it mentally, and the only two genres I'd watched was 1930s horror and then Bad Boys. So I really just needed something else, and I was literally just like, give me a mindless action movie. I found this, so I put it on. I watched it. It was pretty short as well, which is kind of nice. And yeah, I mean, overall, it's not a great movie by any means. And like I said, I do seem to be higher on it than most. But overall, I enjoyed my time with it. Some kind of interesting characters, a really awesome cast as well. Again, kind of underutilized just because I feel like there could have been so much more runtime with this movie, but what can you do, I guess? So let's move on to the first good movie of the week, which I ranked a 70 out of 100, and this is The Wolfman. I've never really been a big fan of movies that take a really long time to get to the reveal, and this movie took quite a while, and considering this is only about a 70-minute movie, the fact that it took about 40 minutes to finally get us to that Wolfman reveal is a little upsetting, and it kind of takes me out of the movie again, especially just because of how short this movie is. There's only half an hour left, and we had just seen the Wolfman, and there really wasn't a lot of content with the Wolfman in this film, but overall I did enjoy the character. So I do think it's a good movie, but it is kind of just like in the middle of the pack right now for the old Universal movies that I've been watching. So with that being said, we'll move on to The Mummy, and honestly, I feel like I watched this weeks ago. I guess it's been a long week. So I ranked this a 73 out of 100, and this, I said in my review, obviously you can see, this might be one of the most interesting, if not the most interesting, of the Universal monster movies. And I don't know, the plot really felt engaging in this one. I really enjoyed it, and I enjoyed my time with it. It was super unique, obviously, as well. And each one of these original monster movies are super unique, especially for the time. From mostly all of them are in the 1930s. They kind of range from like the 20s to 40s, but they're quite impressive, just because of how creative it is, especially for the time. So yeah, I mean, I ranked it a 73 out of 100. I enjoyed my time with it for the most part. Overall, it was just a decently good movie. So with that being said, we'll actually go up to 1 point higher, which is Phantom of the Opera. And I only learned after watching this movie that it wasn't the original. So that really sucks. So this week or next week, I'm going to watch the original, which is from the 20s, and it'll be my oldest movie watched, and it's actually a silent film, which will be a first for me. I've never watched a silent film, so that'll be interesting. I'm excited to see how I feel with that. That might kind of take me out of the movie. I'm really not sure. People seem to really like the original more than this remake, but I really enjoy this remake, and I seem to be higher on it than most. I absolutely loved the acting in this, and this was definitely like probably the best plot from any of the original monster movies. I really, really enjoyed my time with this one. And the final scene of the masked man cutting the chandelier down onto that crowd in the Paris Opera was crazy. It reminded me a lot of the train scene, which we'll talk about here shortly in another movie. So, yeah, I mean, this one was in the 40s, so this is actually one of the older of the monster movies. But again, like I said, I need to watch the original, which, like I said, I'm going to do this week. So, a 74 out of 100 for Phantom of the Opera, which I enjoyed. Then moving on to a new addition to Netflix, which was Real Steel. This has been a movie that I've been wanting to rewatch for quite some time. I've just never gotten around to it. Yeah, I don't think it was on any streaming services until this week, so I decided to watch it. And then there's another movie that will be on my watch list for next week as well, which is Godzilla, or Godzilla Minus One, I should say, because I wanted to watch this week and I didn't get a chance. And this has been like the most anticipated movie that I've wanted to watch since it came out last year. It didn't play in any theaters around me. Unfortunately, I never got to see it, and it hasn't been on streaming service, so you haven't even been able to rent it since it came out. So now that it's finally on Netflix, I'm going to be watching it this week, and I'm very excited. Anyways, back to Real Steel, a 75 out of 100. It's just like that perfect middle ground of good, in my opinion. I see a lot of mixed reviews about this movie, ups and downs, so that's not really surprising, I guess, to say the least, but this one was just fun. It really was. I think this one just had so much heart, and it's obviously a cool dystopian future as well, with a unique story. Not really a unique story, but I guess a unique world. And yeah, I mean, overall, I just enjoyed my time with it. It's been a long, long time since I've seen this movie, probably since like the year it came out, which was 2011. So it's been quite some time. But yeah, with that being said, we'll actually move on to one of my favorite movies of the year, which I ranked a 90 out of 100, The Invisible Man from 1933. This is by far, without a doubt, my favorite of the original Universal horror movies. This one was fucking amazing. I really, really loved it. The acting was tremendous from Claude Rains. He was also in Phantom of the Opera, and I really enjoyed him in that as well. He has really been kind of proving to be like my favorite actor in this time period, because he's in a few of these movies and they're really entertaining. He's got a great performance in each of them, and The Invisible Man is just, without a doubt, the best of the villains, in my opinion. He is not the most iconic. He's definitely not the most popular by any means, but he has absolutely carved his way into my heart as my favorite monster villain from the original Universal Studios horror movies. And I loved this movie. And when I tell you my jaw was on the floor when that train scene happened, I was like, wow, this is ahead of its time. Like, it was a really great movie, and The Invisible Man was a fucking menace. I rented the movie. Honestly, if I had known I would have enjoyed it this much, I would have bought it absolutely instantly. So next time I want to watch it, I know I will be buying it, because I loved this movie, and definitely a recommendation in my opinion. Like I said, a 90 out of 100, so it was amazing for me. And then that brings us to our number one of the week, which is a rewatch for me. The only rewatch of the week, I believe. Well, technically, Real Steel was a rewatch, but I hadn't ranked it on Letterboxd. Anyways, Man of Steel, one of my favorite movies over the past few years, and this is one of the movies that really got me into film. And I know it's a hot take to have this at a perfect 100 out of 100. I know this movie is not for everyone. I understand that, but it's one of my favorite movies. Like I said, I absolutely love this movie. I think this movie is seriously and severely over-hated, because it is truly tremendous. It is a great story. It is a great rendition of Henry Cavill. Henry Cavill Superman, I should say. And it's truly just beautiful. That's really the best I can say, because anything I can say really won't do it justice. And I get to finally show Mel the movie today, which I was very excited for. And then next week, we're going to do Batman versus Superman. The following week, we're going to do Zack Snyder's Justice League. I think the following week, we're going to do The Flash. So I'm doing these movies every Sunday with Goose and Mel, who you've, of course, heard me talk about both. So really exciting, and it's going to be Mel's first time watching all of them. So I'm very, very excited. Anyways, thank you guys all so much for watching. Hopefully you did enjoy, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.